This past May, Meta fired 8,000 people in a single morning. That's not the story. The story is how they were picked. Because according to a lawsuit filed this month, the selection leaned on internal dashboards. Dashboards that scored every employee on how much of their job they'd handed over to AI. The scores had names: AI native, AI first, AI enabled. Use the machine more, score higher, stay employed. And the people who couldn't feed it because they were on medical leave or at home with a newborn, they watched their scores sink. Then the cut list arrived. Meta says people made those decisions, not AI. The court will decide who's right. But here's what should actually scare you. The logic of that dashboard is already everywhere. Because every time you touch AI at work, two things happen that nobody puts in the training video. You're teaching it to do your job, and you're slowly forgetting how to do it yourself. Which means the people leaning on it hardest, the ones who feel unstoppable right now, aren't becoming irreplaceable. They're becoming the easiest people in the building to delete. And the man who runs Meta told you exactly where this was going. 18 months ago, on a podcast, everyone heard the first half of the sentence. The warning was in the second half. January 2025, Marc Zuckerberg sits down with Joe Rogan and says the quiet part at full volume.
An AI that can effectively be a sort of mid-level engineer that you have at your company that can write code.
Everyone heard AI writes code. Almost nobody asked the question that actually matters. Where does an AI learn to behave like a mid-level engineer? It learns from mid-level engineers. It learned from the people it's now replacing. Meta wasn't subtle about it. Inside the company, staff were pointed at an internal assistant called MetaMate, trained on Meta's own code and wikis, and their so-called second brain agents, built to replicate chunks of a worker's output. Think about the name for a second. Your second brain, learning everything the first one knows. Then, in May 2026, the bill arrived. 10% of the company gone, including more than 2,000 engineers at headquarters alone. The mid-level engineer right on schedule. In the lawsuit, 26 former employees allege the layoff math graded their AI adoption, and that going on protected leave meant your numbers were starved. Their claim, in plain English, fall behind on training your replacement and you become the one it replaces. Meta denies it. The court will decide. But whichever way it lands, the message to every worker was already sent. Your AI adoption is being measured. And it's not only one company. Duolingo told staff that AI use would factor into performance reviews, and only softened after the backlash went public. The dashboard is coming to a job near you, so you'd better understand exactly what it's measuring. Because here's what AI adoption actually means, mechanically. There are two ways you train the thing that comes to your job, and you're almost certainly doing both. The first is literal. Your work is the training data. Every ticket you close, every call you resolve, every document you polish, logged, cleaned, fed back into a system that's learning to do it without you. It's an AT&T call center in Mississippi. An AI tool transcribed the agent's calls as they worked. Every solved problem became a clean template for the machine. One union rep watched it happen and put the whole thing in 5 words. We are training our replacements. And it's not just call centers. It's document your workflow, correct the chatbot, grade the AI's draft so it comes back better. None of that is a side task anymore. Every correction you make isn't using the tool, it's finishing it. And this month, Anthropic ships a feature which makes training the entire point. Record yourself doing your job once, talk through it as you go, and Claude turns it into a skill that can run again without you. They named it plainly, record a skill. 10 million people saw it. Almost no one flinched at the name. But the second is way quieter, and it's the one that should genuinely worry you. Because while you're feeding the machine, it's hollowing you out. Last year, MIT's Media Lab wired 54 people to EEG caps and had them write essays. Some with only their brains, some with ChatGPT. The ChatGPT group showed the weakest neural connectivity of anyone tested. Less activity in the exact regions that handle memory and original thought. The researchers gave the effect a name, cognitive debt. Microsoft and Carnegie Mellon found the same fingerprint in the real world. Across hundreds of knowledge workers, the more people trusted the AI, the less critical thinking they did about anything it produced. They stopped checking. The skill doesn't just sit idle, it fades. Put the two together and you see the trap. You're handing over your expertise and simultaneously losing the ability to notice it's gone. The more productive you feel, the more replaceable you're becoming. And it's silent, that's the whole design. Okay, so quick pause here. I'm currently at 2 subscribers, and if any of this has been worth your time at all, then I'd really appreciate if you hit the like and subscribe button. It really means a lot to me. But yeah, anyway, let's move on. Thank you. Now, if the machine were actually as good as the pitch, this would just be progress with job losses. It isn't, and the receipts are everywhere. Klarna spent 2024 bragging that its AI assistant was doing the work of 700 customer service engineers. A year later, the CEO admitted in public that chasing costs had wrecked quality and started putting humans back on support. Marc Benioff said he'd reduce Salesforce support from 9,000 heads to about 5,000 because AI agents could carry it. Months later, his own executives were admitting, quote, "All of us were more confident about large language models a year ago. Now Salesforce is hiring 1,000 graduates." Australia's biggest bank replaced 40 call center workers with a voice bot. The bot buckled, call queues flew up, and the bank did something almost unheard of. It apologized, called its own decision an error, and gave the job back. And this isn't a handful of embarrassing anecdotes. In a survey of nearly 2,000 hiring managers, a third admitted they'd already eliminated a role because of AI, and then had to rehire for the same job. MIT economist Dario has a name for the technology like this. So-so automation. Good enough to justify cutting you, not good enough to actually replace you. It doesn't grow the pie, it just moves your slice upward to whoever owns the system. So the machine stumbles, U-turns pile up, happy ending, right? Well, not so fast. And this next part is the most important thing in the video. First, the U-turn is not guaranteed. British Telecom announced tens of thousands of cuts on the promise of AI. And when people asked whether it would reverse course, the chief executive went the other way. AI means the company might end up even smaller. Betting your career on they'll come crawling back is not a plan, it's a prayer. But when a company does come crawling back, look very closely at who gets the call. Ford spent years swapping veteran quality inspectors for AI camera systems. The cameras missed defects the veterans would have caught, and it cost Ford badly. So in June, they brought back 350 of them. Engineers so senior, the staff call them greybeards. Within months, Ford topped JD's power quality rankings for the first time in 16 years. Read the fine print of the comeback. They didn't rehire juniors. They didn't rehire prompt writers. They rehired the people with deep, hand-built expertise. The ones who can look at what a machine produced and feel what's wrong with it. That's the actual shape of what's coming. Not humans versus AI, a workforce split in two. On top, the auditors. The people who catch the machine's mistakes. Scarcer and more valuable every year. Underneath, the prompt clerks. People who feed the machine and accept its answers. Interchangeable and priced accordingly. And here's how the whole video snaps together. The deskilling from earlier is the sorting mechanism. Every time you offload your judgment, you're not just training the machine, you're voting yourself into the bottom tier. Now, the honest counter-argument, because there is one and it's strong. The best study we have put AI in the hands of 5,000 customer support agents. Productivity rose, and the biggest winners were by far the least experienced. Novices got about a third better, almost overnight. AI is really a cheat code for being you. But look at what that cheat code actually does. It lets a novice perform like an expert without becoming one. The output gap closes on paper, while the learning that used to close it never happens. It's the same trade every time, competence today, capability tomorrow. So who actually wins? Follow the money. The productivity gains are real, they're just not yours. The savings get captured above you the moment they're made. The costs, the hollow skills, the deleted rungs, and the two-tier sort arrive later. And they arrive on you. You're being paid a salary to generate the savings that will eventually not include you. And if you're the person leaning on it all day, faster than you've ever been, none of this means you're stupid. You were told this was the job now. The entire incentive structure was built to make handing it over feel like winning. So what do you actually do? Not the obvious thing. Quitting AI just makes you slow, and slow gets cut too. The answer was never less AI, it's using it without letting it use you. In practice, one rule. Never ship what you couldn't have built. Use the machine to move 10 times faster, then read the code it wrote. Check the numbers it quoted. Once in a while, do the task cold, by hand. The way MIT's brain-only group wrote their essays. Cognitive debt isn't something that happens to you. It's a debt you either service or default on. Zuckerberg was right. The AI really is becoming the mid-level engineer, which is exactly why mid-level is now the most dangerous thing you can be. And why the only safe seat left is the one that audits the machine. Everyone around you is being paid to train their replacement and to feel productive while they do it. Be the one who banks the judgment instead. Feed the machine if you have to, but feed your own head first. In 10 years, the grey bits get the call. Go become one.